Once again, Germany took a huge L in this war. Adolf thought he did something for real spell emoji. However, Bro got absolutely cooked by British forces. W in the chat. For United Kingdom.
A mission? Take me along.
Never try to give me his leg back.
You see, like, I'm gay. But, like, damn.
Shimmy, shimmy, yay.
Famous resist the urge to try.
Ready for combat. Which ape?
If you need help, call me anytime.
Wanna. Standing by. Ready for combat.
My turn.
A little gift for ya. At your command.
Turn over, and you leave. Surrender now. I'll see this through to the end. Set into this.
Attacker safe. I'll make it painless. Moving up. Be gone. The expert is here.
Seth, reporting in.
Here's a taste of the abyss.
You're under arrest.
How do you like me now? Hi, we'll never back I'll make it painless.
may remain silent.
This'll be painless. Sight. Hey, we never back down. The expert is now. You're the prey.
Oh. I need the copies for Charlie then. Fight back, fight back.
Get ready, my son. We shall call this day your new
Did you nothing?
A mission? Take me along.
Dad, what has come over you? I think that your body once before, and now do it again.
Standing by.
If you need help,
Need something? My services are expensive.
Burn. Happy burn.
watch out!
The expert.
No you! Surrender now!
The expert is here.
Not even close!
Fine. Hit him where it hurts.
You're under arrest! Suicide!
Behave.
Come on! Cracking down!
A little gift for ya. Neat and tidy. Found your weakness.
In position.
The final act begins now. Hurts, don't it? Let's rotate. The pressure's on. ring.
I'll prove myself!
There were plenty of disasters to occur after the founding of the United States of America, one of the most major being the Great Depression. It may not have been a natural disaster, but it was an economic one on a massive scale, leaving many countries, even outside the U.S., almost
A mission? Take me along!
Carlos is giving us free stuff every Tuesday. Dr. Ratio is the new imaginary hunt unit, and he's here to give you a free education, as am I. Because today, I'll be teaching you how to play a good Dr. Ratio ridiculously powerful 5-star to clear the hardest content. My name is Braxaphone, and let's talk about Dr. Ratio.
That's an L plus ratio.
So if you've been to college or around college students, you probably know that textbooks are way overblown in price and made mandatory most of the time in order to pursue higher education. Well, luckily for you, the only one you need in Dr. Ratio's class is the one who joins the blood team. A book isn't an effective weapon, so you should always skip his basic attack and opt to use the skill. Dr. Ratio's skill is high single target damage, and with the help of his talent, he has a 40% fixed chance to land a follow-up attack that deals a ton more. Every debuff that the enemy has will increase the fixed chance by 20%, meaning that with just 3 debuffs, you will always land a follow-up. Enemy takes massive damage from the follow-up, the same way that I took massive emotional damage from professors following up on the homework I didn't turn in. When you use his skill, there's actually 2 traces that massively buff his damage potential. The first one gives him a base chance to reduce enemy effect resistance, which essentially gives him a debuff to use for free to proc follow-up. And his other trace gives him a crit rate and damage buff based on the amount of debuffs an enemy has. It stacks up to 6 times, and the real kicker is that this buff is useful for the entire fight. All of his crit rate and crit damage buffs stick around for the entire fight and for all of his abilities. So you don't actually need to hit someone with 6 debuffs to max it out. You can hit someone with 3 debuffs twice. This man is sculpted like a Greek god. He definitely doesn't need all 6 debuffs at once. Something to know about his follow-up attacks is that if you defeat an enemy with his skill, his follow-up will actually target another random enemy. So you're never really losing damage from defeating enemies in the first place. Due to his doctorate in Gigachatology, he's able to drop a Greek pillar on an enemy with his ultimate, dealing a ton of damage and applying a buff that lasts for 2 triggers. Whenever a teammate attacks an enemy that has buff from his ultimate, it'll trigger a follow-up attack from Dr. Ratio. I also love that in this animation, he's literally hitting enemies with an L ratio. His entire gimmick is just massive damage from follow-up attacks, but I really wish he would just follow up with me. Dr. Ratio also has a trace that increases his damage dealt to targets that have debuffs on them. Increases by 10% for every debuff as long as they have at least 3. Keep in mind, too, damage over time counts as debuffs, so it's really not hard to max out all of these traces. Lastly, his technique creates a statue. Wait a second, is that a JoJo reference? If you enter battle with enemies in range of the statue, you'll have a base chance to reduce enemy speed, thus giving you a debuff for Dr. Ratio to use and also allowing you to attack more before taking any damage. Due to his ability to find the hypotenuse of a triangle and also throw chalk like nobody's ever thrown anything before, this man deals insanely high damage and he's absolutely free. I can't believe that, by the way. That's insane. I'm still not over it. Remembering his traces, make sure to focus on his talent for the most damage, then skill, and then his ultimate. Next up, let's talk about relics so you can learn how to deal maximum damage with Dr. Ratio's really long, hard, rock hard, in fact, wide, girthy pillar. There's not many things to think about when you're playing Dr. Ratio. Most of the time, you just sit back and enjoy being degraded by a muscular scholar. Everything about this character is a W, including his relic, because a lot of the options for him are shared with other characters, meaning you may not even have to refarm. His best in slot with 50% in prison uptime or more is 4-piece Wastelander, but if you're looking for a more general setup, you can just run 2 pieces of Wastelander and 2 pieces of Ash Glazing, which will give him 10% imaginary damage and 20% follow-up damage, respectively. You can also give him a mix of speed or attack sets, and 4-piece Genius of Brilliant Stars is a top pick, especially against Quantum Leap enemies, while even still being just decent against enemies without Quantum Leap. Now keep in mind that we don't currently have a debuff from this relic set,
Set in position.
We also know that Penetrating is gets to lose relic. So it may actually be worth
Turn over, and you leave.
Sure. Hit him where it hurts. This won't hurt. The expert is here. No escape.
You're headed behind bars.
Got your back.
I'll do my best.
Now, you're the prey.
Too smart to take anything seriously, yet you also decide to call you out on the If you find that it's based on the art that's your base, but what do you think that the rubber docketed bathtub to grade on? That system of pure thought is the best in Rob Lightstone.
You're under arrest.
This'll be painless. The final act begins now.
Other Lightstones, like In the Night and Sleep Like the Dead, are also pretty good for the stat function. Now, Swordpoint is a Lightstone that's good in theory against bosses. In fact, against bosses at S5, it's actually one of the best options for Dr. Ratio. But it can lose its effects when switching targets, so I prefer cruising in the Stellar Sea, or in his case, Stellar Tub, which is completely free to play. Otherwise, you can go with only Silencer Mains or River Flows and Springs. Here's a Light Cone comparison for Dr. Ratio, just for your own reference. If you want to know if you should get Eidolons or his Light Cone, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Also keep in mind that Light Cone rankings are subject to change just based on the type of content they are simulated in, and these rankings may not be the end-all be-all.
You may remain silent. Over here! You're under arrest.
I'll make it painless.
No use resisting.
The pressure's on. Let's feel it.
Last words.
Your crime won't be forgiven.
Easy.
Cracking down.
Hurts, don't
Turn over, and you leave.
Ready or not, here I am. Now, you're the prey.
What the hell? What is such a cool and unique image and inspiring keeps on getting better with new releases. Now's especially a good time because one synergy I like to talk about today is Acheron, whose Nihility synergy is a big talking point. I'll recap his kit in less than a minute, then explain why he's so strong by explaining how his action delay and slow works, and when to use it. I'll then give you his new best builds with the new 2.0 relics and the new 2.1 planar ornaments. And then I'll talk about his brand new synergies. I'll also be discussing Walt's Super Sustain and his build in this video. It's a niche but cool strategy that I've started mentioning more of ever since 1.5, but I've never really made a video on. So like and sub if this video helped, and let's get straight into it. Let's start with a kit recap. Skip forward if you know what he does. Walt's basics are basic. Walt's skill is a bounce attack, targeting one enemy and then hitting 2 more times on random enemies. On every hit, it has a chance to slow enemies. His ultimate is fully AoE, doing some damage and having a chance to imprison enemies for 1 turn. This will delay their action and slow them, stacking with the skill slow. His talent will give him additional damage procs every hit with abilities versus slowed enemies. These can crit. His skill can thus proc it 3 times, and his ultimate 2 times per enemy it hits, as it has a 2-hit distribution. His technique is a dimension technique that does a weaker imprison from his hurt, but applies it on every wave to all the enemies upon entering combat for 1 turn. He will apply a universal damage taking debuff to enemies and also regenerates 10 extra energy upon ulting. He also does more damage to enemies with their weak broken. For any Eidolon damage increases, these are the calculations provided by NLREM. For World Peace Series Castle, who also provided some extra World gameplay. The most notable ones are the E2 for those easier ulti and E6 for giant damage increase. So I do enjoy E4 with extra quality of life. So what makes this kit stand out? His damage is decent and you can and most of the time will run him with the handicap. However, his imaginary element alongside his slows and delays gives him speed or sustained potential that you can use in his own adversary team, but also using you to get better. He does sustain well because he's replacing with sustainability as well, and it can work very well with your imaginative stages. You can flee into non-imaginative stages that should not be used to get enemies with high CP in the best way unless you can only certain effects. Many bosses have 50% CP or debuff rates, which are a multiplicative reduction to your normal debuff chances for only imprisonment and greater imprisonment. If your team is very overpowered, you might be able to make it work regardless, but at that point it's when you do well that carries your team. Jesus is a more also has a bit of cover generation, and you can simply can't score too much. This also applies time destiny to your team, requiring your weakest of carrying damage before the end of the fighting match. Because boss he can delay them a ton, he can't delay them indefinitely in most cases. Your Harmony units will also want to vary transparent too. So how does delay function? Delay is the output version of Advance, and you know how strong Sparkle and Burning the boss can be. Since delays can't get you extra turns though, it doesn't offer a giant damage increase like Advance does. Instead, it can let you get extra attacks on an enemy before they move. This provides some damage gains if you have debuffs or if they are broken, as these damage modifiers will now be up for way more of your DPS attacks. But the biggest help is how it boosts your survivability. Enemies have action value just like us, and most enemies in the endgame sit at 158.4 speed. They must consume 10,000 action gauge to take a turn, just like us. What a delay does is add action gauge to said enemy. In the case of Walt's level 10 ultimate, they now must consume 14,000 action gauge, changing their normal AV from 63 to 88, which is basically like them having 113 speed for this turn. But Walt doesn't just delay, it is then compounded with the ultimate slow, making that 14,000 AG even harder to consume, pushing the AV for that turn to 98. He also has his skill slow, 110 AV now. Now let's consider breaks. If the enemy is imaginary weak, they shouldn't really be moving with Walt on the field. Not only does breaking toughness apply a 25% delay, or 2,500 more action gauge, imaginary break applies an additional 30% on top of another 10% speed reduction. This delay scales with breakback too. So if we consider his skill, ultimate, and an imaginary break, the enemy will be delayed by 95% and have a 30% slow. They will need to take 176 AV for their next turn, or nearly 3 times as long as usual, giving them an effective speed of 58 and pushing them a whole cycle away. It's disgusting. Now, since speed and AV are constantly changing, you want your slows to hit at the best moment, and that is when an enemy just finished their turn, as they reset their AV and they consume 10,000 with that big slow. If you delay them just before they take a turn, they've already consumed most of their action gauge and the slow will not control the effective and more of a waste. So the delay itself will have the same value when it is using. Now this combines with World's special power and Alpha's turn imprisonment. In the case of a 2 attack action from an enemy, this will cancel their second action when successfully applied. They will only end up doing 1 attack at the very first, and it will force them to end their turn. Not only do you cancel a devastating attack or ability, you will also get the most value possible out of this slot. Finally, Walt's ultimate depends on the enemy scenario. Halting in the middle of the boss's 2 attack action provides the most value for your slate and drastically reduces the enemy's power. Halting before in the case of low health allies can be fine too though. This is because unless you're using it to cancel enemy actions, the delay is just as strong no matter when you use it, only the slow is not. Then another example is if you are about to beat the enemy in the first wave, you should then save it for a great first chance in the second wave. There's a lot of fucking strategy involved to maximum efficiency.
Ready or not.
So it's better to use a more efficient than currently than use it for an upbeat. Pioneer is his new best slot, but not by far any setup. Don't need to be farm if you're already going on a maximum set. For 2-piece combos, 2-piece Pioneer is now a better imaginary 2-piece and works with things like Minion's Benediction as a nice bonus. Attack percent 2-piece combos, the imaginary set, and Hacker 2-piece all work as sets you can mix and match. For plain ornaments, the brand new Izumo set, and I hope I said that right, this is best when you have a secondary Natalie unit on your team. This can be Silver Wolf, Gunaifen, or Color, or Akron if you are running him as a super sustained such jet. Zamas is also a tiny bit better now than Fatal Inclusion, but you have to reach the 135 threshold, so it really depends on your team and what you want to farm. Izumo is paired with the Sigonia Affection set, which can be really nice to bolster with Kano, or you can try to send economy with Demok to help out your support. The main stats you want to hit button, speed or attack tempo, imaginary damage tempo, and an attack tempo. For a stat goal, you want a 70 to 100 resistance, 2.75k attack at least, 3 depending on what and 43% effect hit rate. These values can change depending on your turn and are without any buff. Effect hit rate explanations can be found in my original 1.2 world guide. But basically, on DPS world, you need too much damage for that effect hit rate. Especially when considering the fact that most imaginary 40% of those enemies have 2 to upgrade, so these are guaranteed to be up to 7%. Your slow chances are always going to be low regardless of 46 to 67%, and if your speed hits and health low, your talent should have still uptime anyway. Slightly seeking best Lycone is in fact Acheron's tremendous positive skill. 2.0 and 2.1 will swap out everything for him. If the damage is nice, the extra debuff is good to Pioneer, and the damage can burn and transformated equation. So not far behind the equation to do need and in excessive range if you pulled them for him or by accident. And of course, Goodnight Sleepwall S5 is always a good option, and so is his signature. Goodnight Sleepwall S1 beats out Luke, so swap to it as soon as possible. For a supportive world that focuses more on sustain, you can go for that extra bit of effect hit rate, and you want to go for an energy rope. Speed boots should always be used for super sustain world, and you can opt for more speed over attack percent or crit if you really want in substats. Break effect technically increases break delay, but you'd have to make sure you break, and your carry would really need to pop off to compensate for your weaker damage. Break is also only useful into imaginary weak, and that's why NLREM does not recommend going for extra breaking stats. Going Pioneer is still good as you'll still be doing damage, but a 2 hacker combo works nicely as well. A 5% infantry planar is also recommended for similar missions, and Striding Bomber can let you act incredibly early in the first wave where your ult is at its most needed, since you can always save your next ult for the second wave. This works like going to be up to 4, consistent range where resolution shines as the best option.
If you need help, call me anytime.
Fast ultimates for his sustaining power, and the 2 other clones provide some nice damage amp, with resolution synergizing with additional depth.
A mission? Take me along!
Speaking of fast ultimate rotations, let's check them out. World without external energy help will hit a 3 to 4 turn ultimate with an attack percent work, with it being guaranteed 3 turns when swapping to an energy work. It's less damage than an attack percent one, but provides utility and survivability if you ever need them. If you have an energy work and want him to be very SP positive, you'll need 1 skill and君らはこの強さを君らに選ぶ余地はない。